Hi Lindsay, thank you for having me down here at FareShare HQ this morning. It's absolutely great to see where the food that we donate to you actually ends up and where it goes. I first came across FareShare when I was working over in Ireland, and I went up to Belfast and saw the amazing work that you did up there, and I thought it was incredible. Could you tell me a little bit more about what you do?
So the Belfast depot that you went to is very similar to the London one that we're in now, and there are 24 across the whole of the United Kingdom. And we believe that no good food should go to waste. And so we work with principally the supply chain, so the growers, the logistics companies that sit behind the retail or the hospitality front line, and take the vast, vast volumes of surpluses that are very, very small percentages and divert those to frontline charities using an amazing army of volunteers, many of whom are in this warehouse today. And in that way, we minimize the amount of food that goes to waste.
Food waste is a huge problem, and it's really high on our agenda. And last year we donated 35 tons of surplus food to FareShare. However, in the first 6 months of 2020, due to the pandemic, we've donated 5 times that amount, so 172.5 tons have come into FareShare, and it's great to see that we've diverted that produce. It's gone to really good causes.
And that 172 tons is the equivalent of 410,000 meals. That's Wembley filled 5 times if you're allowed to fill it. But also environmentally, it is a well-proven fact that the most environmentally efficient way of disposing of food is between one of these and one of these. And when you think of the water, the nutrients, and the energy that goes into making food, by far the best thing to do is to consume it, to eat it. But there's a real relevance to now, because we all know that in the next few months and the coming year, that the calibration of the supply and demand, as hospitality reopens and hiccups and the supply to be able to meet what possible maximum demand might be, that's going to create surpluses. Now, clearly, nobody wants food to go to waste. And so the opportunity to be able to work with you to make sure that if there is a surplus, and we hope there isn't, but if there is a surplus and there are errors between supply and demand, we know that there are very, very large numbers of people who are going to suffer the economic consequences of the coronavirus over the next couple of years.
Are we seeing a change in behaviour? We know that giving back is an important part of well-being, and I think in the recent months, there's a lot more of a community feel. How have you seen that evolve at FareShare?
Right, you're absolutely right. So in the second week of March, when we made a big call out for more volunteers, we got more volunteers registering with us in 1 week across the whole of the UK than we did in the whole of 2019.
It's incredible.
And we're surrounded by volunteers here who are doing an amazing, amazing job. FareShare just does not operate without the community. But alongside that, and I think this is a really important point I want to make, alongside that is actually we saw a change in behavior and belief from the food partners that we have. So initially we saw no food at all because of the shelves being stripped.
Yeah.
And then when the hospitality sector was closed down, suddenly the supply chain to the hospitality sector was offering us large, large volumes of food. And people were really passionate about, I've got this product, it's surplus, I know there are people out there who need it. I'm aware of all of these food parcels are being put together for people who are vulnerable in lockdown, who can't get out of their houses. What can you do with it? And I have one memorable occasion where a supplier of limes offered us 24 pallets of limes.
It's a lot of
limes.
limes.
And we already had a lot. That's just in London alone. We already had a lot of citrus fruit in the system, as you would expect. And so we said, look, we haven't really got the storage space for it. We know people aren't drinking gin and tonics at the moment.
Not yet.
Well, not in pubs and clubs anyway. And what was fantastic is this guy got angry because he was passionate, because he had good product and he didn't want it to go to waste. And that's where we're asking the food industry, don't lose that passion. Keep that passion, please, because in the whole of the rest of this year and next year, our services are going to be needed like never before. And those small percentages, 24 pallets of limes compared to what he was turning over, was probably a drop in the ocean. But a drop in the ocean is big food parcels. And then the other point is the sustainability question. You know, customers want to know where their food comes from. They want to know the provenance of it. They want to know the food miles. And also they want to know that no good food is going to waste.
And I think that's been heightened during the pandemic. People really care more about where their food comes from. They want to know the provenance and traceability. I think that's really important, and that's only going to benefit the food industry.
Totally. But the point that we're really making, and the big shout out to the food industry and the suppliers, particularly the hospitality sector, is guys, come and work with us, because we can make your staff and your colleagues and your customers really feel proud to be working with you and being part of your business.
Down here today, the place is buzzing. There's people everywhere doing lots of things, so it shows that we really are doing some good.
Yeah, I mean, you can hear the forklift, you hear the trolleys, food taking out. There's so many charities in London wanting food that we've got a whole series of private cars that are turning up from some of those charities to, I suppose, slightly jump the queue from the deliveries that we do out. There's another one turning up now. So it's really buzzing, it's really busy. There's a lot of people who need this food.
Yeah, so important.
Absolutely.
Lindsay, could you tell me a little bit more about the process? How food comes in, where it goes, what sort of good causes it goes to?
So, I mean, at the height of the pandemic, we were supplying 3.5 million meals every single week. But we have a supply chain that is the maddest in the world because we're using leftovers. So we don't really know what we're going to get from one day to another.
You can see that looking around. It's an eclectic mix of food. You have a job on your hands to know what to do with it.
Well, we can get anything that can be retailed because there will always be surpluses because of supply and demand. And so the key thing that we're trying to do is, we're focusing on what are the core staples that the charities that we want, that we support want. And at the moment, across the whole of the UK, we're supporting in excess of 11,000 frontline charity and community groups who themselves are supplying a service to people who are vulnerable. Now, they are as broad and as eclectic as, I suppose, human frailty is. We've got domestic violence refugees that we support the length and breadth of the land. There are various projects that deal with all of the forms of human addiction, gambling, drugs, alcohol. Mental health is a prevalent issue across many of the sectors that we support. And our own roots started in the homeless community. So it's not just people who are turning to food banks. It's not just kids who are going to breakfast clubs at schools. It is as broad and a range because that food is helping those frontline services save money.
It's making a massive difference. And I think what's really important as well, that they're getting a healthy, nutritious meal at the same time. So it's great to see lots of really good fruit and vegetables in the fridge. I think that's really, really important. I mean, what would you see as the main challenges that you face running this operation?
I think one of the biggest and largest challenges is that flux of types of products. So, for example, in the big chiller behind me at the moment, I lost count of the number of pallets of courgettes that we've got. We're in the middle of courgette season, and even if you just have, as I do, 2 plants at home, you get gluts.
Lots.
And we've been working with you guys and others and trying to get recipes, pushing those out. And getting people to get and understand there's lots and lots of different things that you can do. Earlier in the year, same with asparagus.
And I think the end user sometimes might not be the most experienced cook or
Absolutely.
chef in the kitchen. So I know what we've done in the past. Remember at Christmas time, you had an excess of carrots. So we looked at giving you lots of different recipes on carrots, not just carrot soup, boiled carrots, carrot mash. We looked at different things that you could do with the humble carrot, which went down really well.
Yeah, and so and before you gave us that information, I was a classic. I was thinking, well, I can cut them that way, or I can cut them that way. But the lots of other different things you can do. And what's fantastic is what that does is drives and motivates all of those 11,000 charities to all be food waste warriors as well, because they're in the front line of hunger, of helping avoid food waste.
Yeah. And I think as well, sometimes it's just that little bit of education. If we could give that little bit of guidance and support to help them do something a bit different or open their eyes up to another way of working, I think it could really make a difference.
Early summer, we have huge volumes of soft fruit, particularly strawberries. We've got all the courgettes now. We'll begin to get the cauliflowers and the cabbages coming in. So as those crops grow and mature, and there are those surpluses, we're having an amazing summer this year. We're predicting that there is going to be even more surplus at the farm gate than there has ever been before.
And it's important to work within the seasons. From a sustainability point of view, it shows that we're utilising British produce as well, which is fantastic. So it's great to see that we have that excess fruit and vegetables as well that you're able to utilise.
And and even though I was talking about the huge quantities of courgettes, people need to understand that more than 95% of the British produce that is surplus and could feed people still goes to waste. So we're not even touching the sides. We're a very ambitious organisation. We want to do a lot more.
Well, what you do here at FareShare is absolutely incredible. I've really enjoyed coming down here today, seeing it in operation, seeing the buzz around the place. And I'm really proud of our partnership, and I'm really looking forward to that growing.
Well, and likewise, we love working with responsible businesses, and we're very, very proud of our partnership with the Compass Group.